Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, said, "A person is likely to follow the faith of his friend, so look whom you befriend." You've probably heard the saying, "You're the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with." Well, today we're going to explore that idea through an Islamic lens. We will discuss the 10 types of people you should avoid and can negatively influence your Islamic faith. But be aware, you yourself may show signs of these qualities without knowing, so make sure to watch until the end to help you not only reflect on your own life, but to be a positive influence for the people around you. 1. The selfish one. We've all come across someone who seems to live by the mantra, "my needs first." This attitude is the very essence of selfishness. Imagine you're walking down the street and you notice an elderly person struggling with their groceries. Do you stop to help, or do you carry on, absorbed in your own concerns? This scenario is a litmus test for selfishness. Would sharing a portion of what you have, whether it's material goods, time, talent, or energy, truly make you less happy? Selfishness isn't just about hoarding wealth, it's also about being stingy with your time and care for others. It's an attitude that says, as long as I am okay, nothing else matters. Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, taught us a different path. He said, "None of you truly believes until he loves for his brother what he loves for himself." This profound statement from our beloved Prophet encapsulates the antithesis of selfishness, a genuine concern for the well-being of others as much as for our own. In Islam, the human soul is understood to have a natural inclination towards selfishness. This trait is a test from Allah. The one who overcomes this inclination, who puts others' needs on par with their own, truly exemplifies the best of character. The Prophet, peace be upon him, also said, "He is not of us who sleeps contentedly while his neighbor goes hungry." This vividly illustrates the Islamic ethos of community and mutual responsibility. It's not enough to ensure our own comfort while ignoring the needs of those around us. Responding to the needs of others, showing empathy, and treating people with kindness are not just moral duties, they also prevent the hardening of the heart. When we empathize with others, when we treat those in need with affection and respect, we combat the cruelty and selfishness that can take root in our hearts. Before type number 2, help us to spread the message of Islam to a wider audience by simply clicking on the subscribe button and sharing your insights in the comments. 2. The lifelong complainer. The next on our list is the complainer, a personality type that is all too familiar to many of us. The chronic complainer is someone who seems to find fault in nearly everything. The weather is too hot or too cold, their job is never satisfying, or the food at a popular restaurant is always subpar. It's a cycle of discontent that manifests in various aspects of life. A husband complains about his wife, who in turn complains about him. Children grumble about their parents not understanding them, while parents lament over their kids not doing homework or lacking respect. In workplaces, employers and employees often find themselves in a loop of complaints about each other. This constant dissatisfaction is a sign of a deeper issue, a lack of contentment in life. Islam teaches us the importance of contentment. Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, used to pray, "O Allah, I ask you for contentment in what you decree." This beautiful prayer embodies the essence of being prepared to accept wholeheartedly whatever Allah has planned for us. Complaining perpetuates negative energy, which not only affects our own well-being, but also impacts those around us. It can lead to a spiral of unhappiness, depression, and weakened faith. However, this does not mean that we should never express dissatisfaction or that we cannot address issues that genuinely need attention. The key is how and why we complain. In Islam, facing our problems realistically and seeing them as tests from Allah is encouraged. Complaining should not be a habitual response to every inconvenience or a way to start conversations and bond over negativity. When feeling the urge to complain, it's important to ask ourselves, does this complaint bring any positive change, or is it merely a way to vent frustration? Sometimes it's necessary to voice concerns, especially in difficult situations, but it should be done constructively and directly to those concerned. Number 3, the arrogant one. Imagine encountering someone who constantly brags about their successes, looks down on others, and is dismissive of opinions that differ from their own. This is the hallmark of an arrogant person. Arrogance, a trait severely condemned in Islam, is often considered a root of many moral failings. It is the characteristic that led to the downfall of Iblis, the primary devil in Islamic teachings. For those unfamiliar with the story, Allah the Almighty once commanded the angels to prostrate to Adam as a sign of respect. All complied except Iblis, who arrogantly refused, claiming superiority because he was made of fire, while Adam was made of clay. This act of defiance against Allah's command was the first recorded instance of arrogance, and it led to Iblis's eternal downfall. The Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, warned strongly against arrogance. He said, "No one who has an atom's weight of arrogance in his heart will enter paradise." This highlights the severity of arrogance in the sight of Allah. However, there's often a misconception about arrogance. Does taking care of one's appearance or wanting to present oneself well equate to arrogance? Absolutely not. A companion once asked the Prophet, peace be upon him, about wearing nice clothes and looking good. The Prophet responded, "Allah is beautiful and loves beauty." Arrogance, therefore, isn't about your appearance, it's about an attitude, rejecting the truth due to pride and looking down on people. Arrogance can blind us to our own faults, sever our connections with others, and most critically, distance us from Allah. It often stems from deep insecurities and a need to assert superiority over others. The Islamic approach to dealing with arrogance, whether in ourselves or others, is through humility and understanding. If you find traces of arrogance within yourself, it's important to remember that all humans are equal in the sight of Allah. No matter our status or wealth, we all come from the same humble beginnings, born of a mother and father. True superiority in Islam lies in taqwa, the consciousness and fear of Allah. 4. The hater. The hater represents a destructive force that can tear communities apart. Hatred and animosity occur when individuals harbor resentment, ill will, and hostility towards each other. Islam teaches us that while we might not control the initial thoughts that enter our minds, we do have the power to choose whether to follow or dismiss these thoughts. Our voluntary thoughts are essentially inward statements, and as such, we are guided to engage in good thoughts or keep our minds silent. In Surah Al-Hujurat 49:11, the Quran provides us with a powerful reminder, "O you who have believed, let not a people ridicule another people. Perhaps they may be better than them." This verse emphasizes the importance of refraining from unjust judgment and ridicule, highlighting the equality of all humans before Allah. Islam teaches that all human beings, having been created from a single pair of parents, Adam and Hawa, Eve, are equal in the eyes of the Lord. Superiority in Islam is based solely on piety and good actions, not on superficial differences like race, color, nationality, caste, creed, or sect. Islam strongly detests and discourages hatred or discrimination of any kind. However, it encourages believers to despise the evil and wrongful actions that people might commit, such as kufr, disbelief, nifaq, hypocrisy, and all forms of evils and falsehoods. This perspective is similar to how a doctor views their patients. They do not hate the patients themselves, but hate the diseases that afflict them. Hatred is a powerful, consuming emotion, often rooted in negative experiences, misunderstandings, or differing beliefs. Although Islam promotes unity and harmony, it recognizes the human tendency to fall into negative emotions, including hatred. However, Muslims are urged to control these emotions and instead embody patience and empathy. In situations where you encounter people, perhaps even within your own family, who are toxic or bear animosity towards you, Islam guides us to draw boundaries respectfully, deal with them wisely, and pray for their guidance. There's a saying that the trees with the sweetest fruits are beaten the most, suggesting that those who face adversity often bear valuable gifts. 5. The envious. Number 5 on our list is the envious, characterized by a feeling of discontent or resentful longing aroused by someone else's possessions, achievements, or qualities. Envy is a destructive emotion that can lead to unhappiness and dissatisfaction with one's own life and blessings. Imagine being in a situation where you see a colleague receive praise for their work or a neighbor buy a new car. Instead of feeling happy for them, you feel a twinge of envy, wishing it were you receiving that recognition or owning that new car. This feeling is what Islam warns against, as it can corrode personal contentment and gratitude. Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, taught about the dangers of envy. He said, "Beware of envy, for envy devours good deeds, just as fire devours fuel." This hadith highlights how envy can destroy a person's good deeds and spiritual well-being, much like fire consumes wood. In Islam, envy is considered harmful not only to the individual who harbors it, but also to the society at large. It can lead to hostility and conflict between people, as it often involves wishing that the blessings of others be taken away from them. To combat envy, Islam teaches the importance of contentment and gratitude. We are encouraged to focus on our blessings and be thankful for what Allah has given us, rather than looking enviously at what others have. The Quran says, "And do not wish for the things in which Allah has made some of you exceed others. For men, there is a share of what they have earned, and for women there is a share of what they have earned, and ask Allah of His bounty." Quran 4-32. This verse reminds us that everyone has their unique set of blessings and challenges, and we should seek our provision from Allah rather than envying others. 6. The Gossip Monger. Gossip, a behavior too common in today's world, and one that Islam warns against. Picture the person always eager to share the latest tidbit, irrespective of its truth or the impact it might have. Gossip is akin to a wildfire, rapidly spreading and devouring reputations, relationships, and trust in its wake. The Quran repeatedly warns Muslims about the sins of the tongue. "Do not concern yourself with things about which you have no knowledge. Verily, your hearing, sight, and heart, all of them will be called to account." Quran 17-36. This verse underscores the importance of guarding our speech and being mindful of what we pass on to others. Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, provided profound guidance on the dangers of gossip and backbiting. He began by defining what backbiting is, asking his followers if they knew its true meaning. When they looked to him for knowledge, he explained, "It is saying something about your brother that he would dislike." This definition highlights that even if the gossip is true, it is still considered backbiting, and if it is false, it escalates to slander. What if you find yourself caught up in gossip unintentionally? It's important to remember that Allah sees and knows all things. The Islamic approach is clear: either speak well or remain silent. In our daily lives, gossiping has become normalized, so much so that it might seem natural to us, but we must resist this temptation. When you encounter gossip, remind others of its harmfulness. If they persist, choose to distance yourself. The Quran supports this action, stating, "And when they hear ill speech, they turn away from it." Quran 28:55. This teaches us to not partake in or entertain harmful talk. Additionally, when you come across a rumor, always assume the best about the people involved. If someone's actions appear wrong, try to understand their perspective. This approach can prevent us from dwelling on negativity and spreading harmful gossip. If you engage in gossip, seek forgiveness from Allah and from those you may have wronged. Remember, there are certain situations, like making a legal complaint or seeking help to prevent a wrongdoing, where speaking about someone's actions is necessary, but these are exceptions. 7. The Heartless. The Heartless is characterized by a lack of compassion and empathy, seemingly untouched by the suffering of others. In the realm of Islam, kindness and compassion are not just encouraged, they are essential qualities. Empathy is something we all seek from others, yet paradoxically, we often find ourselves reluctant to extend it ourselves. Reflecting on the life of our beloved Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, we find that he was never heartless to anyone, friend or foe. As followers of such a great personality, we are encouraged to emulate this aspect of his character. Showing compassion and kindness should be inherent in every Muslim. A humble person is often a good listener, someone who can disagree amicably and maintain cordial relations with others. In today's world, there's a noticeable lack of empathy, sometimes even towards one's own family, including parents. Islam teaches us that humility and a gentle approach can break down barriers of aggression and hostility. The Quran warns that a person who is rude and harsh will struggle to get their points across, regardless of their validity. Such individuals are often disliked and fail to leave a positive impression on those they interact with. Doing good and harboring the right beliefs are intertwined in Islam. Practicing good deeds is seen as evidence of having the right belief in the heart. This is why the Quran frequently describes true Muslims as those who believe and do good deeds. The Prophet, peace be upon him, emphasized that the best among Muslims are those who exhibit the best behavior towards others. It's important to understand that those who become heartless often do so due to their own suffering and upbringing. They may project their pain onto the world, showing animosity towards everyone. However, it's crucial to recognize that sometimes what appears as heartlessness may be a defense mechanism in specific situations, like dealing with manipulative individuals or discerning insincerity. 8. The Deceiver. Number 8 on our list is the Deceiver, an individual who engages in dishonesty and manipulation to achieve their objectives, often at the cost of others. Deception and manipulation are despicable traits that go against the very essence of decency and integrity. Picture this scenario. You're working diligently on a project at work, investing late nights to ensure its success. You have a colleague, let's call him Mark, who seems friendly and collaborative. One day, during a senior management meeting, you're stunned to see your idea, the one you've painstakingly developed, being presented by Mark as his own. No credit is given to you. This is a classic example of deception, where individuals like Mark thrive on using others for personal gain. Such behavior is starkly contrasted in an incident involving Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. He once noticed a food stall where the surface of the food seemed dry, but upon digging deeper, he found it was wet underneath. The owner admitted it was damaged by rain. The Prophet, peace be upon him, questioned why the damaged part wasn't put on top so that buyers could see it. His response highlights a fundamental Islamic principle: honesty and transparency in all dealings. "Whoever cheats us is not one of us," the Prophet declared, underscoring the severity of deceit in Islam. In Islam, cheating and deception are seen as alien to the noble character of a true Muslim. On the day of resurrection, every traitor will have a banner announcing their betrayal. Imagine those who thought their deceitful acts were forgotten, finding them exposed to the world. Deception can manifest in various forms, from cheating in exams to dishonesty in business transactions and even in personal relationships. A true Muslim, guided by Islamic principles, avoids deceit, treachery, and lying, regardless of any perceived benefits or profits. Such actions are not only condemned, but are also considered signs of hypocrisy in Islam. 9. The Hypocrite. Number 9 on our list is the Hypocrite, an individual who presents a false appearance of virtue or religion. Hypocrisy in Islam is considered one of the most dangerous moral failings, as it involves deception not only of others, but of oneself. Consider this scenario. A person publicly displays their piety and adherence to religious practices, but privately they engage in actions that contradict their outward show of faith. This behavior is the essence of hypocrisy. It's not just about failing to practice what one preaches, it's about consciously projecting a false image of righteousness and devotion. Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, warned sternly against hypocrisy. He described the signs of a hypocrite. When he speaks, he lies. When he makes a promise, he breaks it. And when he is trusted, he betrays his trust. This description underscores the damaging nature of hypocrisy, where dishonesty, unreliability, and treachery are prominent. In Islam, hypocrisy is viewed as a grave sin because it sows discord and distrust within the community. It undermines the very foundations of integrity and sincerity that are essential in a harmonious and functioning society. The Quran addresses hypocrisy on several occasions, illustrating its seriousness. In Surah Al-Baqarah 2:8-10, Allah speaks of people who claim to believe in Allah and the Last Day, but in reality they do not truly believe. Their hearts are diseased, and Allah increases their disease due to their hypocrisy. To guard against hypocrisy, Muslims are encouraged to align their inner beliefs and intentions with their outward actions. It's about being genuine and sincere in faith, in our dealings with others, and in our adherence to Islamic teachings. 10. The Materialist. The last on our list is the Materialist, characterized by an excessive or primary focus on material possessions and worldly pleasures over spiritual values. In Islam, this trait is cautioned against, as it often leads to a life driven by greed and superficiality, overlooking the deeper purpose of our existence. Imagine a person whose life revolves solely around accumulating wealth, chasing the latest trends, or indulging in luxurious lifestyles. Their happiness and self-worth are tied to their material possessions. This behavior epitomizes materialism. While Islam does not prohibit enjoying the bounties of this world, it emphasizes moderation and reminds us that the true purpose of life extends beyond mere material gains. Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, addressed this issue by teaching the importance of simplicity and contentment. He said, "Richness is not having many belongings, but richness is being content with oneself." This profound statement highlights that true wealth lies in contentment and gratitude, not in the accumulation of material possessions. The Quran also provides guidance on this matter. In Surah Al-Takathur 102:1-2, Allah warns, "The mutual rivalry for piling up the good things of this world diverts you from the more serious things until you visit the graves." This surah reminds us that the pursuit of material wealth often distracts people from their spiritual and moral responsibilities. In combating materialism, Islam encourages believers to focus on their spiritual growth and to use their wealth and resources for the betterment of society. Muslims are reminded to be generous, to share their blessings with those less fortunate, and to remember that everything they have is a trust from Allah to be used in a manner that pleases Him. If you learnt something from this, please let's share it in the comment section below. And if this video has made you realize that you possess any of these qualities, I suggest watching my video on forgiveness. May Allah forgive us.